Why do I continue to get in court and have these problems? Why do I continue to have the police come after me? Why do I continue to have these cases go against me? Why? Please give me some understanding of how to stay out of trouble and stay out of court. Today, we're talking about it, avoiding the drama in court. I'm yours truly, Diva Laree, with the UNA University and UNARepublic. We're going into it today. Avoid the drama in court. Let's do this. Yeah. Yes. Yours truly, Diva Laree. I am here with you on this January 8th, 2023. We're going to do it today. We're talking about avoiding the drama in court. Let's do this thing. Yeah. All right, so I hope I'm live with you today on camera's off. All right, so y'all know I'm still newbie at this game. So I'm live on TikTok, and we're attempting to be live on YouTube. What? Okay, give me 1 second. So for those of you all who are on YouTube, thank you for joining. So let me see why my video is going in and out. I'm just checking here. Okay, I think I'm up. There we go. I think I'm up. Hello. We're going to get these issues ironed out one day. All right, there we go. So, all right, I want to welcome everybody. Welcome you to this open session. All right, we are here in January 8th, 2023. We're dealing with today avoiding drama. For those of y'all who are new to the channel, like I'm a newbie to TikTok, I want to make sure you all understand what we do here with UNA University. We deal in all laws, okay? From universal law to natural law to hierarchy of law to contract law to code statutes and not code, let me rephrase that, to federal codes. We don't go any below that. We also deal in contract law as well as treaties and UCCs and declarations and, you name it. We're dealing with it as long as it's above federal code. So we're going to get into some of that today. I want to go into, also, let me say this before we get started. We have the UNA University Winter Season 2023 that's starting on the 15th of January. So if you're interested in being a part of the university and you want a consultation so that we can get you to join in the university, I want you to leave a message in the inbox. Those of you all who are on YouTube, go to UNAuniversity.com, and there you will be able to click on the link to get a consultation. All right, so go to UNAuniversity.com. All right, so I want to thank you all for joining us. Let me see who we have in the house. Miss Roro. Miss Roro's in the house. Noah's in the house. Let's see, we got people coming in and people on. Thank you for the rose, Miss Roro. All right, so let's get into this thing. What we're talking about today is avoiding drama in the court. Now, one of the things we want to understand and recognize is that when you are in court or when you have issues coming to you, let me rephrase this, because there's always, every issue that there is, it starts with the spiritual side. Everything is a spiritual energy. So whenever somebody's coming to me for some kind of issue, whether it be for DUI or for it could be for anything in court, domestic violence, or whatever it is, it's always a spiritual issue. Always. That's where everything starts, from the spiritual side. All right. So I need to start on this so that we can be clear on where these things come from, because when people come to me and they act as though they are a victim, the laws are clearly telling me that you're not. Okay. And it's important that we understand that, because of the simple fact that when you recognize the spiritual side, then all of the other laws underlying it become child's play. So I'm going to show you something. And this is a chart. If you all don't have this chart, I want you to go to UNARepublic.com/docs, DOCS, D as in David, O as in Oscar, C as in Charlie, S as in Sam. I want you to go and download this hierarchy of law chart because it's very important. And as I'm finding this, the first law on this hierarchy of law chart is the universal laws. And this, when we say hierarchy, this is the order in which they are. All right. So the universal laws are going to be your number one set of laws. All right. And this deals with the spiritual side. What does universal law deal with? Whatever energy you put out must come back. Universal laws appear. This is very important. So when you get the universal law, this deals with the spiritual side. Everything under here becomes child's play. You can deal with this much easier as long as you are in balance up here with the universal laws. This is important to understand. When I talk to people about this, they think it's just about paperwork and filling out some paperwork, and then that's it. It is all spiritual. Everything is spiritual. And I hope y'all are getting that. This is the money I talk to people about, and everybody wants to miss this. Okay, keep missing it. Keep missing it and keep finding yourself in court. Now, let me get into this a little bit so that we can get an understanding of what we're saying. Now, what you're looking at are the hierarchy of laws, all right? Meaning this is the order in which they are. And what we go into with the universal laws, I'm going to give you one that I have to repeat over and over again because people don't get it. There are no victims. There are no victims. So if somebody's coming at me and they're saying, "Oh, I got a court case and they accusing me of doing something that I didn't do," listen to me, because what I know, because I know law, is that you might not have done what you're accused of, but you did some other dirt. And how do I know that? Because I know that energies are not happenstance. That's another universal law. Nothing is happenstance. If something is happening to you, it is a reflection of energies that you have put out. That's another law. Reflection. Everything is a reflection of you. So any energies that you're getting because you put those energies out. And if you're receiving an energy, I know that you put those energies out. Okay, so it's important to remember that, because this helps you to avoid being in court in the first place. Okay, so if you want to avoid getting energies coming at you, be sure you're putting the right energies out in the first place, and then they can't come back on you. That's very important. All right, I spoke about 3 laws. There are no victims. Nothing is happenstance, and everything is your reflection. So it's just like if I see somebody coming at me, oh, Diva, see, I'm a victim of domestic violence. And I already know. I've had too many cases, too many, where somebody's come at me talking about, oh, I'm a victim of domestic violence. And then all I have to do is ask them, tell me about the incident you had with someone else where you beat them up or you did some kind of physical harm to someone else. The problem is that we're not recognizing that you can't get away with anything. Universal law right here. Every energy that you put out, every energy you put out shall be returned to you. Unless you know how to cleanse these energies, if you're putting out an energy, it's got to come back. The universe only seeks balance. That's it. She only seeks balance. So if you put something out over here and you don't balance it, well, she's going to balance it for you. That's all. That's it, and that's all. And so when I see some energy coming back on you, and you telling me about this happening, this person ain't no good, and this person ain't no good, and they in your face, and they doing this, and I know you did exactly what you're telling me they did to you. You might not have done it to them, but you did it to somebody else. I know. All right? So now, in understanding that, get your energies right, and then all of this right here comes into order. So now let's get into the legal side so that we can understand what's going on this level. If you're entering into a court, let's talk about what you need to do to protect yourself. Now, this is on the legal side, the paperwork side, the document side, because I got to go back to the spiritual side because there's other things you can do to protect yourself from that as well. Now, in the legal side, let's understand that when there are court cases, there's always going to be some kind of summons or contract. All right. I've had too many people to tell me about how, I ended up in court and they didn't send me no letter. I know they're not telling the truth. Once again, dealing with laws. I understand law. I understand contract law because this is what they've been using against us the whole time. And I also understand these higher laws and then natural law. All right. When I see a case in the public, meaning that there's a trial and it's a public trial and it's like, such and such versus such and such, I know that there had to have been a summons by law sent out to that person before this court case can happen. This is important to understand because these people have been playing this contract law game and we're not recognizing it. What happens is when you receive a notice in the mail talking about court, or even if you receive a notice in the mail, let's say telling you about a mortgage. Let's say they're saying, oh, you owe us such and such for this month for your mortgage. All right. When you don't respond or you don't answer, then you've agreed that you owe them that amount. They say you owe us $12,000 for $1,200 for your mortgage. You don't answer. You've agreed, yeah, I owe you $12,000 or $1,200, whatever it is. By not answering, you've agreed that you owe it. Also, you got to understand when they're sending you a notice for your car, a notice for your house, they are contracting with you. That is a lawsuit. That is a court of law. That is a contract. It is all of that. And when you don't answer, you are agreeing to the terms of that contract, to the terms of that court of law. You are saying, I agree, by not saying anything at all. So that's the first thing you want to understand about court. We got to learn how to stand as sovereigns by communicating. When you go bury your head in the sand and you choose not to say something when somebody is sending you a document or a contract, then you're in dishonor. You're acting like a child. You're acting like somebody who has no standing. And so when you do that, you're actually contracting and you're agreeing to the terms that they sent you. When they send you a document for your car, for your house, for your light bill, water bill, gas bill, they are contracting with you. They are saying you owe us. This is a lawsuit. And when you don't respond, you say, okay, I agree. All right. Understanding that. Same thing with a ticket. When you sign a traffic ticket, let's understand what this is. This is a contract. This is a court of law. When they're telling you, well, I didn't do anything, I'm innocent. Well, you can go into court and then you can tell it to the judge. Court is right here on the side of this road. This is court. What is a court? Let me show y'all a court, because I need y'all to understand something. We have come into the understanding that a court is this physical location that you walk into. This is a court. What does a court look like? It's got 4 corners. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a court right here. This is a court of law. And let me help you understand. It is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than that physical court that you walk into. This is court. When you know how to wield this pen and write rules on this court, this is more powerful than what you walk into. All right, so now we're understanding that court is that ticket. That ticket that cop is getting you to sign, that is a court of law. He's going to tell you, well, you can just show up in 30, 40 days and tell the judge. Once again, he is giving you a court of law. And as soon as you sign it, and then you don't answer within 10 days, you have agreed to all of the terms of this court that was taking place on the side of the road. You've agreed to the terms of that contract. All right. So this is why we have to recognize that we have been contracting. We have been banking the whole time, every time you sign your name. And because you haven't learned how to stand as a sovereign, you have been contracting and agreeing to things not knowing it. Now, you enter into court after 60 days or 30, 40 days or whatever amount of time that they tell you that you can enter into court. By the time you get into court, you have not answered the terms of that contract. You haven't stood as a sovereign. You haven't taken care of your business on the private side. And so now when you get into the public, you are in dishonor as soon as you enter into the courtroom. You're in dishonor because you haven't handled business on the private side. This is why this court right here is more powerful than the physical court you walk into. This is more powerful because this is on the private side. The private side is going to be more powerful than the public side. All right? So when you're walking into court, you're walking into court in dishonor because you have not responded the same way you didn't respond to the contract or the court of law sent to you by the mortgage company or the court of law sent to you by the car people. All right. The financing company for your car, all of that. Okay, all of those are courts of law. All right, so we're understanding now what's going on when we walk into a public court. This is a lower court than your private court. Okay. Now, as sovereigns, when someone sends us a notice, we are going to respond within 10 days. We're going to respond. That's contract law. Y'all, I'm going to give you, I told y'all when y'all come, when y'all see these sessions, make sure you have a pen and paper because we're going to get into it. Right here, contract law. When you have someone sending you a contract or a document, you have 10 days to respond. All right? Unless otherwise noted. Sometimes they'll say you have 30 days. Sometimes they'll say you have 60 days. It depends on what their contract is. But in general, in contract law, it is 10 days. Why is it 10 days? 3 days to get the document in the mail for them to receive it. Another 3 days to respond. And then another 3 days for it to go back through the mail, plus 1 day for the Sunday that falls in there. So that's why you have 10 days. And this is what these people have been doing to you. Contract law. The whole time. Anytime they're sending you a notice, it is always contract law. This is why I know that when people come to me about their wages being garnished with their job, and they say, oh, well, they didn't tell me, the IRS didn't send me a notice. I know they sent you a notice. Because they're going to play by the rules, because when they get you, they're not trying to let you go on some kind of technicality. I know they're going to send you a notice. Always. I can't tell you how many times well, it happened twice, and then after that, I got the message. But I have clients come to me, and they're telling me about how, oh, well, they didn't send me this, and I'm ready to go. I'm like, oh, they didn't send you, and they garnishing your wages. Let's get them. We're going to get them. And then we called to the Internal Revenue Service, and we started making inquiries and finding out, oh, wait a minute, they sent you a document on this day, and they sent you a document on that day, and you didn't respond. So you agreed to them garnishing your wages because you didn't respond. When we learn how to stand as sovereigns, they can't come after anything, because we learn how to protect it. They're garnishing your wages because you agreed to the contract by not responding. We always respond as sovereigns. We stand up, we act like adults, and we make it clear, we do not wish to contract with you. No, you cannot take my wages. No, I do not agree with your contract. No, I do not owe you these funds. All right. So now, we're understanding that we have to respond to these people when they're sending us a notice. Okay? How else do we protect ourselves, Diva? Then, they garnishing our wages. How do we protect ourselves? First of all, learning to respond. Secondly, learning to put yourself under trust. Learning to put yourself under trust. That's why we deal with that in the university. How we put ourselves under trust. One of the classes that we have this season is our requested Back to Basics, where we're taking you through the basics of protecting yourself under trust. All right. This is where you're learning all of the documentation that's needed to create your trust. Learning how to stand on it, learning where to file them, why to file them, learning what the document is, what its purpose is. Okay, all of that. You're going through the basics, and we're going to walk you through it step by step so you understand what trust really is. But yeah, once you get your trust in order, then you know how to stand and make it clear to these people that you're not contracting with them and they have no authority or jurisdiction. See, what you got to understand, I was talking about wages, all right? When we're dealing with wages, that's your money. Y'all got to understand, are you giving your job your social security number? And you are. That means that they are tapping into your estate. They are contracting with you. When they tap into your estate, that has your all capital letter name on it. That's your corporation that your mother created for you. It belongs to you. Any funds that they're getting, that belongs to you. So then when you put it under trust, then here comes the IRS or the whoever it is that's coming up trying to garnish your wages, Child Protective Services and all this. They're trying to garnish your wages. Well, you got to understand, first of all, that those belong to you. That's your private property. So when the IRS comes up to your job, your boss, and they're telling your boss, you need to, this person is employed by you, you need to turn their funds over. Understand that the IRS is a third party agency. They're a private, they're not government. I'm going to say this again. They are a private third party agency. They don't have authority to take your funds if you're under trust. See, they've made the assumption that you and your corporation belongs to them. When you claim it under trust, then they can't tap into it. So now you have to learn how to stand up and tell your boss or your job, excuse me, but there is an agreement between you and me for my funds. Those are my funds. And I've given you the authority to be fiduciary over my funds. Now, that does not give you the authority to give my funds to a third-party agency. And if you do that, then we're going to have problems. There's going to be a lawsuit because you don't have authority to give my private property to a third-party agency. Yeah. Then that stops that right there. Nobody's garnishing anything. I don't care who they are and what they're for. They are a private third-party agency, and I do not give you the authority to give my funds to anybody else. This is between me and you. That's how we create our treaties. All right? And we make it sure that we put it on record, and they know that it's on record. And if they violate it, there's going to be some problems. All right. So carrying on. All right. In understanding how important the trust is, you also have to, once again, learn to stand as a sovereign. You got to put your company, your job, you have to put them on notice. All right. Now, let's go into what's going on when you walk into court. All right. So, when you got to remember, if there is a public court and you're walking into court, there was a summons. So when they summons you to court and you have to be in court on such and such day, you don't sit around and wait for you to show up in court, just like you don't sit around and wait if you get a ticket. No. You're going to make sure if there's a situation where they're calling you into court, you are going to create your own court. You're going to create your own court before you go in there. As soon as you get the summons, remember that is a contract. You got 10 days. I think I'm breaking up. Let me hold on for 1 second, because I seem to be breaking up here. Okay, well let me continue. Okay, thank you, R3 and reasons to love. Hey, Lo, and Miss Roro. Thank you all. Okay, thank you, Darren. All right, so let me continue. I guess in YouTube land, we having all kind of difficulties. All right, so now, when you go into court, or when you receive that summons, you need to be ready to respond within 10 days. Do not let it linger. Do not just, oh, well, I'm going to just show up in court. You're guilty. That means you walk in there, you have agreed to whatever this summons is, whomever is summoning you into court. You've agreed to that contract. We don't agree to that. No, we're going to send in a response before the court happens. And so what happens is when you create your own court, now you go into court with your own protection. Because you got to understand, I told you this court is more powerful than the physical court you're walking into. You want to make it clear to the judge before you even walk in there. These are the laws of my court. So when we go, see, this is why the other class that we have for this season is called Whose Court Is It Anyway? You learn how to create your own court so that if you go into court, you have your own level of protection. You have your own court established before you walk in. Then there's no question about what you're stepping in there to say. There's no question about the fact that you're saying, no, I do not agree with this contract. You send in your own contract before you get in there. All right? So now, in understanding that, once you're getting into court, because normally we create our own court to squash any kind of summons they're putting at us. So normally we'll say, no, we do not agree with whatever charges you're trying to make, and we'll state what we're looking to do. Now, I need y'all to understand something. Whenever there's a court case or a court situation, there is always remedy. There's always remedy. I'm done. I'm not playing. This technology draining my energy. All right. So, anyway, here's what we're talking about. When you get into court, you've got to recognize that if you haven't responded before then technically you are in dishonor of the court. If you have not responded before you go into court, so if you have not responded by the time you go into court, you are in dishonor technically. So you've got to recognize that if you're going to go into court, you want to make sure you establish your own court with your own set of laws. Listen, this is why I tell you this is more powerful than that physical court, because when you have established your court, you can set your own rules. We learn how to do that in the UNA University. Once again, the session that we have coming up is called Whose Court Is It Anyway? And in that, you're going to learn how to actually create your own lawsuit, how to create financial instruments to offset bills, how to go through the administrative process, how to create your own court, and then how to open your own court, how to stand when somebody else comes at you with their court, how to get paid even if you're getting sued. There's always remedy, as long as you understand the game, the rules to this game. All right. So when you're walking into court, we're going to say we're walking into court with our own court, and we make our demands because we understand how money works. First of all, y'all better understand this court right here. It is a contract. It is a court of law. It is a lawsuit. It is also a financial instrument. It holds a value because we put a value on it. And you also want to understand that when you walk into court, this is a business. Y'all want to look at, it's justice, and this is the justice and fairness, and no, it's a business. And you need to understand that the bench is a bank. The court is a bank. And we're coming with a financial instrument. When you know what to do, you know how to get this financial instrument cashed. Learn how to play the game. And then you can stop getting stepped on. So with that being said, we're in court. And what you've got to recognize is that when I have child support cases, even mortgage cases, it doesn't matter. If there's a court case, you're in a business. You're at the bank. If you know how to wield the pen, then you need to be walking in there and getting money. When I hear people who are telling me, because I know certain people, they like to go into court, they like to fight. Yeah, that's fine. They're like, I won. I was like, did you get any money? No, I was not guilty. They found me not guilty. But did you left the money? You didn't get the money? What money? I won. I didn't. You got to understand this. When you go into court, Every time you go into court, there are two financial instruments that have to be created by law. All right. Performance bond, payment bond. Look them up. A lot of people don't know about this. But every time there's a case created, there are two bonds. And those bonds have to be in the name of either the plaintiff or the defendant. If the plaintiff is the state, it is going to be in the name of the defendant. I'm going to say this again. Y'all need to pay attention. I told y'all, you always want to have a pen and paper when you come up in here because I'm ready to drop some jewels. If there is a court case, two documents have to be created. A bid bond, actually a performance bond and a payment bond. They have to be created. If the plaintiff in the case is the state, then the state can't have a bond created for them. Why? Because they can't create money. Why? Because it's a dead fictitious entity. It can't sign. However, the defendant, which is you, if you in a driving, a speeding case or any kind of whatever, it's going to be the state of whatever versus you. And it's going to be your all capital letter name. So it's not really you, but they're going to need you to sign. There's two bonds that are created at least. There's plenty of them. The ticket is a bond. If you got another citation, that's a bond. They give all kind of warrants. That's a bond. But what is a bond? Pay attention now. A bond is a financial instrument. It's insurance. Bid bond, payment bond, performance bond, that's insurance. They have to create these. One, to protect the federal government, and two, to protect you. And it's going to be in your name if it's the state of anything versus you. IRS versus you. FBI, CIA versus you. It's going to be in your name. And there are two bonds. Now, when these bonds are created, they have to be at least the amount that you're being charged. But normally they're going to go at $1 million. All right, I'm dropping some heavy stuff. This is my intermediate and advanced class type of information. So what you have to recognize is that there is money. And if you are the defendant and the state of whoever or whatever other corporation is coming after you, those bonds are in your name. They belong to you, but you never claimed them. This is why I say there is always remedy when you know how to play the game. All right. Protecting yourself in court. Now, when you're going into court, you want to be under trust. All right. Because if IRS, FBI, CIA coming at you, let's understand there's no such thing as a criminal case. Everything is civil. Why? Why is everything civil? Because none of these people are truly government. None of them. FBI, CIA, who else is it? IRS. They're private corporations. They're not government. And so because they're not government, nothing can be criminal. Everything is civil and it's all about money. Can you pay? Can you pay? Well, if you know the game, you know the money is already right there sitting in your face in the court. Now, let me get on child support cases. If you happen to go into court, you do not walk into court as a dead person. When they say or sound your name, you do not answer as that entity. You are the authorized representative of the entity. You got to know how to speak. You got to know what to say if you're in there. Now, normally, once again, we are filing documents before the court case ever happens because we don't go into courts because we know that courts deal with dead people. Dead people. And when you understand this game, you'll recognize that a court is nothing but a summons. Summoning the dead people to arise. Well, we ain't dead. We're not. So we're not going into that court. But if you happen to go in there because of whatever reason you didn't do what you needed to do, once again, there's still always remedy, always. All right. So if you're walking into court because of whatever reason you haven't filed your documents or whatever, you don't answer as the dead entity. And you always want to be under trust before you go into a court case in the first place. Why does this matter? Because then the charge is not on you. You have to know what to say, because the judge is going to attempt to get you to answer to that dead entity. And I can't go into it deep. That's why you need to come into the university, because this information is very deep. But when you walk into the courtroom, understand, let's say your name is Billy Joel. All right, your name is Billy Joel, and you walk into the courtroom, they're going to call all capital letter name Billy Joel. But that's not you. At this time, when you walk into the courtroom, the judge and the prosecutor, they are Billy Joel, not you. But as soon as you go, oh, I'm Billy Joel, well then you got to pay. But if you say, I'm the authorized representative of Billy Joel, I'm here to settle the issue, I'm here to settle the taxes dealing with this case, then you get to clear it up, and you get to make them pay. There's certain phrases and words that you're going to know to say and use when you walk in there, such that the charge is on them, not you. This deals with child support. This deals with even mortgages. This deals with so many things. This deals with anything dealing with making a payment, and you're in court. It goes across the board. You learn how to make them pay. All right. So with that being said, let me go into this. All right. Because I've gone into what things you need to say to the judge, gone into what things you say, or that you could possibly say for the record. I'm not going deep into that, because I just want to get this at the top, across the top, so that you all know how powerful it is, understanding these laws, and then how powerful the trust is and how it works for you. Now, let's recognize this. If you're dirty, if you've done dirty deeds, by the way, thank you. Like and share this if you found any information, if you've you've gotten any information from this. Like and share, and then tell your friends to tell a friend. And also, I want to encourage you guys to join us over at YouTube. You can find us at UNARepublic on YouTube. We're building that, and that's where the full videos are. Like, if you want to come back and get these, you'll see some snippets on here on TikTok. But if you want to get the full video, you're going to be able to find them on YouTube. So please join us there as well. But yeah, if you've got any information, share it. I appreciate it. Now, I want you to understand, this is not going to work for you every time. If you are dirty, if you have done dirty deeds to people, let's understand that nobody gets away with murder. Nobody gets away with murder. Nobody. If you have done a dirty deed, the universe will return the energy to you. So this is why, people get into thinking they can do this paperwork and, I can get off with this, and they can't touch me, and they can't do nothing. Listen, if you owe, you will pay. All right. Now, these people down here, when you're dealing with laws down here, where we're talking about, let me see if I can get you all to see it. Corporations, right? Everything under here. These people, they don't have jurisdiction once you're under trust. However, there are other laws, there are higher laws that you have to answer to. And if you get from under these people and you don't have integrity, the universe will return the energies to you. The universe just seeks balance. Once again, she seeks balance. If you put an energy out over here, You better balance it, or she's going to balance it for you. If you do dirt to somebody, if you owe somebody, if you, let's say you go and damage something of somebody's, and you think nobody saw you, she's going to find you. And then you're going to be in a situation where you say, I didn't do nothing. You think nobody saw you, but the universe is coming back on you with another energy. And you're acting like you're a victim, but I know. Those of us who know laws, we know. So this is why you always have to have integrity, always. And yeah, you got this newfound power, and you know how to wield these documents. But if you are doing dirt, none of this is going to help you. None of this. If you are righteous up here, then everything down here will fall into place. If you're not, there's nothing you can do on this level to help yourself. All right. So I need to go into, again, the power of cleaning up your energy. What does that mean? All right. What is the power of an apology? And how everybody's saying, well, apologize. Yeah. It's one thing to apologize, but you have to go further than that to clean up your energies, especially when you're in a situation where you think you're a victim. All right. There are no victims. I know I've gone through this before in this session where I talked about there are no victims and what have you. And even when we're talking about the child, I'm not going into that. But there are no victims. All right. And so I want to put out this saying. If you all have any comments, put them in the comment section so I can get to them before I get out of here. But if you had, I want you to think about this phrase that we've heard throughout our childhood. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And I'm going to put the universal laws up here because it's going to help us to understand some things. All right. We're talking about forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Now, that saying is very powerful because, once again, when we're talking about these laws here, there are no victims. And when we're remembering that we are indebted, meaning we put out some negative energies to receive the energies, when we ask for forgiveness and then we choose to forgive, then we clean up all of the baggage that we had. Again, if you want to learn how to balance your energies over here before the universe have to come in and balance them, learn how to, once again, remember you're not a victim. And then ask for forgiveness. And then be willing to forgive. I have to say this all the time because people, again, when we get in our mindset that we're a victim and we don't recognize that we've put out energies in the past, then as a victim, we can't move to a higher level. You can't move to a higher level because you're not recognizing your own stuff. You're not recognizing that the people who are in your face, in accordance to these laws, universal laws, they are your reflection, and that's it. If y'all don't have these laws, this is the universal laws. I just went over the hierarchy of laws. Go to UNARepublic.com/docs. UNARepublic.com/docs. You can check the profile, and you can find the link in the profile. All right, so it's important to recognize our own energies, and the more we recognize them, the more we're able to effect the universal laws, the hierarchy of laws, and really even this paperwork when it comes at us. All right, we have to learn how to stand as sovereigns. We have to learn how to respond. We need to learn how to write contracts and respond to other people's contracts so that we can start doing business properly. All right. If anybody has any comments or questions, thank you all for joining. I really do appreciate you. Darren says, I don't know that. You don't know what, Darren? Larry Washington, thank you for joining. Ra, Reasons to Live. Does anybody have any comments for me before I get out of here? Reasons to love. Thank you, says I'm doing great. Thank you, Reasons to Love. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Because I want to answer them before I get out of here. Miss Roro says she didn't respond. What didn't you respond to, Miss Roro? Noah Johnson, thank you for joining. Let's see. All right. So if y'all don't have any questions, I want to just encourage you to join us. We starting this season on the 15th of January. We invite you to have a consultation so that we can get you enrolled in the university. We've got Back to Basics, which is learning how to be under trust. We've got Whose Court Is It Anyway, where you learn to create lawsuits and write courts and, make sure that you know how to respond when somebody's trying to sue you. And then we also have banking, which is our advanced session. You have to be under trust to get in there. So we invite you to join us. Y'all like and share, and then tell other people about what we've got going on here. I hope you've gained some information. If you have, leave a message. All right. Tell somebody. And then make sure you all join us next time. We go live Sunday, Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. All right, we're going to see y'all in class. I love you. I appreciate you. We're going to get our YouTube going some kind of way someday so that it doesn't back out on us. I love y'all. I'm out. Diva, thank you for joining. Peace. Yes, yes, yes. UNA.